Okay, Monday, 4th of November 2024. So Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff mentioned now. Money Monday, Bitcoin and all the other stuff. Wisdom of the crowd. It's a little interesting concept worth understanding. Essentially stereotypes. There's a nice little experiment done where 100 people or so were asked how many sweets were inside a jar. And the average, the mean of all the answers was pretty close, one standard deviation away from the actual number. Very interesting. So that kind of shows you that in finance, in life, in the world, stereotype and general sentiment is important. It has some bearing on decisions. What people generally say about a place, an area, a neighbourhood, an economy, a stock, a position, anything, a trade, is generally speaking correct. So human sentiment plays a role in everything. Wisdom of the crowd. What the majority of people are saying has bearing, is important. If the majority of people say the cliff here is dangerous, watch your step, then that idea has some bearing. That idea has some merit. Because the crowds, the multitude, the people are saying it. The general consensus, the stereotype. Very nice. So it's worth understanding the sentiment of the markets at times and places when it comes to decision making, when it comes to what to say, what to do, when to do it and beyond. Very interesting stuff. Because that, you see, if you don't look at the human element of things, we fall prey to what's called the McNamara fallacy. We are only looking at data, only looking at the maths, only looking at the numbers, which is important, but only looking at them, you risk overlooking the human element. This goes into the realms of behavioural economics. You risk overlooking the human emotional element of things. You risk overlooking that certain unknown factor of things. That, have to be careful with these things in life and in the markets and in general, and look at both the logic, the maths, the science, important, but the human element. Why? Because fundamentally we do business with other humans. Humans are involved with every single thing in this life, in this world. So we have to consider the irrationality of humans, the emotions of humans. And one way to do that is to understand the wisdom of the crowds. By doing so, we take into consideration sentiment, market sentiment, the feelings, the thoughts. What people think will happen, when it will happen, how, and beyond. Very important. Not something to be overlooked. Because if you do overlook it, you risk, as I said earlier, going into the realms of the McNamara fallacy, only looking at numbers. And then you're blinded to the human element. And even then, if you're looking at the human element only, you risk being blinded by not looking at the maths, the fundamentals, the physics, the science. Exactly. Overlook that, or you need both really. Overlook either one of them at your peril. There's always that human element and that maths element to consider, with no matter what you're doing in life, in business, in the markets, with dealing with Bitcoin and other things and beyond. Very, very important. It's just the way it is. It's the way of life. There's the logical and there's the irrational world. Well, that concept right there can go much deeper, but I need to do a bit more research on that. But that's worth understanding. This concept of the wisdom of the crowds. What people generally say is generally, within some standard deviation, correct, accurate. The general idea, the general gist of things. Very important to understand that in life, to get a much more balanced and nuanced understanding of the world, because there's more to it than just maths and logic and physics. As the human element. We deal with people all the time, so we have to master psychology, master handling people. Otherwise, we have a massive blind spot. Again, McNamara fallacy. Over relying on numbers can hold us back. Because there's always that element of irrationality. Remember, there's a great saying in the markets. The market can stay... No, what was it? The market can stay irrational longer than you can stay solvent. You could be mathematically, logically correct on a position or an idea or a concept, but you could just be too early because the market's not there yet. I remember in 2011, I used QR codes a lot, but even back then you have to have a separate app to read them. But now, back then, people didn't really use them. I thought they were amazing little tool. Again, the logic was there, but the humans, it hadn't caught on yet, so I was too early. And years ago I had another business as well, which was great, logic and all the rest, made sense on paper, but it was too early for the market. It was too early, let's say, too novel. It was different stuff. Well, yes, exactly. There's always a human element to consider and remember. And the wisdom of the crowds, and looking what they say, looking what they do, that's a general thing to consider, general thing to understand. If people tend to say, this is not going to work, or that's not going to work, then within reason, yes. Now there's always other caveat of, it's too early, it's too soon. They don't understand things, because even market sentiments can change over time. And this goes into the realms of reflexivity, where by looking at something, and what's it called what was it called in string theory or whatever, by looking at the results themselves change. Because we could then say, well, the market's wrong emotionally and logically because you know something it doesn't. There's a bit of asymmetry there. That's powerful, that is. The more asymmetry you have in life, the better. The sooner you can, let's say, beat the market at something, understand or learn something faster or quicker than anyone else, the better. That's powerful. It gives you an unfair advantage, so to speak, which is amazing. But understanding life, there's the irrational human element of things. Never forget market sentiments, the wisdom of the crowds. What are people saying? Invert the things. What are people not saying? What are all people saying? Where are they going? Where are they not going? What are they buying? What are they not buying? And beyond. And then you sprinkle in some knowledge, maths, science, physics, whatever else, anthropology, biology, you name it, and yet you understand the human element, the psychology behind it, behind the markets and the people. To understand, we deal with humans are the same around the world. The more you understand that, the better you can perform in the world, not just in the markets, but in life, in business. Why? Because again, you've got that mathematical grounding, understanding of things. I was looking at Bitcoin in the context of power law recently, and in the context of a stock to flow model. Understanding the maths there, but understanding the irrational world as well, the behavioral economics world. Powerful stuff, which is interesting, because a lot of people, when it comes to Bitcoin adoption, they talk about the price will go wherever, whenever, but they tend to overlook the premise, the built-in premise. Where there's adoption, where there's price increase, there has to be adoption. Where's that adoption coming from? That means people buying it, people understanding the first principles, the technology, whatever else. Exactly. There's always that human element involved. And what are humans saying? What are they not saying? What are they doing? What are they not doing? All these different factors to consider and remember. Powerful, powerful stuff. Yes. How cool is that? Yeah, but otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.